No mai haere mai. It's the Huddy Hui. Find Huddy Sports on Instagram and .co.nz. Now let's kōrero.
Kia ora, good evening and welcome to the Huddy Hui episode 170, and we're getting close to the NPC semi-finals this weekend, and our guest tonight is a name that I've known for a few years. He was a student at St. Pat's Town when I was a teacher back there about 9-10 years ago, and since then he's made the move down south, played a bit of rugby there, and now he's in charge of the strength and conditioning at the Otago rugby team that have been firing at all cylinders this season in the NPC, and they're in their semi-final this weekend against Bay of Plenty. Ben Shepherd is our guest on the Huddy Hui tonight. Ben, many thanks for coming on the Huddy Hui. How have you found the NPC campaign this year for Otago?
Yeah, cheers for having me on, Brad. I've found it pretty enjoyable. It's my first time running the S&C program for any NPC team. So it's all been pretty new to me, to be honest. But it's been pretty cool. Like, got really good people around me. We've got a really cool, good new coaching staff that have been really easy to work with. Players are a good bunch of lads, so the environment's pretty cool overall, which makes it enjoyable coming to work every day. So yeah.
That quarter final last Friday, what was the feeling like when that winning kick finally went over?
Oh, probably a fair bit of relief mixed with just excitement. I think we probably always thought that we'd come back and get it done, because we've done that a few times this year. Like that Canterbury game, we came back from 14 points down or something, and I think there's been a few times where we've come back at the death. So I think we're pretty confident that we get it done. And Cam's a pretty unbelievable kicker, so we didn't have too much doubt that he'd be able to do it even under that pressure.
And of course, you mentioned that Canterbury game, the Ramphilly Shield locked away for the summer. The feeling of having it down there in the deep south for the summer season.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. We haven't really seen the Shield itself much since we won it, because it's been going around all the club. It's been going around Central Otago, visiting clubs and visiting high schools and stuff. I think they were taking it around the halls of residence the last few days, selling tickets for the semi-final. So it's been pretty busy, but yeah, it's pretty cool knowing we've got it locked away for the summer. Pretty massive tick that we didn't really think we'd get an opportunity to have, to be honest. We looked at the sort of schedule at the start of the year and thought there's a pretty low chance of getting a Shield challenge, but the Stags managed to get it, and then it kind of found its way to us, which was cool.
Now let's talk about your role as head of strength and conditioning. What is the core philosophy that underpins your program for the Otago team?
I think the core philosophy is probably that rugby is the priority. So the more we can get out of our actual rugby training, the better, I find. So, I suppose a lot of people think that we're giving them lots of running blocks and extra conditioning sessions, but I think from a conditioning side of things, at least, the main thing that I try to do is work with the coaches to make sure that our rugby training is sort of getting what we need from a conditioning perspective, rather than having to do too much extra. Because in my mind, certainly that's the best way to condition players for rugby, is to play rugby and train in a rugby specific way. So yeah, that's probably my main philosophy. And with the gym, just kind of trying to do stuff that complements that, obviously, and just build the players' bodies to be robust, to be able to stay on the field and play 80 minutes, really.
How do you manage that training load with the players?
Probably it takes a lot of sort of relationships and conversations with the guys because they're obviously, especially the ones that are playing big minutes, they're pretty banged up coming into Monday, and that is pretty consistent throughout the year. So it can be quite hard to find good times where they're fresh enough to sort of lift weights and stuff. But it probably, it kind of takes conversations with those players, figuring out what they feel able to do and just trying to get little hits in where we can. With the guys that aren't playing so much, it's a bit easier. They're obviously a bit fresher, and it's more about trying to make sure that they're getting enough sort of running load and rugby load so that if they end up being a starter, that they're ready to handle that. But they can afford, their bodies aren't so banged up, so they can afford to do more weights and that kind of stuff, which makes it a bit easier.
Now, of course, you mentioned about the players when they get to Monday, they're pretty banged up, but injury prevention is always pretty critical, particularly at that high level of NPC rugby. What are your key areas to focus on with the players to, mitigate those common rugby injuries?
Hamstring work's probably a massive one for me that I am pretty tough on the boys with, making sure they're doing Nordics and RDLs and that kind of thing, keeping their hamstrings healthy. We do lots of calf work as well, lots of shoulder rotator cuff stuff. We've got a physio who's really good. He's like me, he pushes the boys pretty hard to stay up on top of their rehab and prehab and that kind of thing. Like we have windows in our calendar, the start of a day where the boys come in, and before we actually start doing lifting weights and that kind of gym work, they're just doing prehab and recovery and looking after their bodies in that way. So most of them are pretty good. Like they stay on top of it themselves. Some of them we have to push along a bit more, especially when they get pretty gassed, in the middle of the season. But I feel like we've done a fairly good job so far. Most of the boys have been able to stay on the field, touch wood.
What is the one of the training methods that you get most excited about when you're working with the players?
I think everyone loves a bit of upper body gym. We do that usually on a Tuesday or a Monday if we play Friday. So just a big volume lifting, bench pressing and chin ups and all that kind of thing. I get pretty excited about that, and a lot of the boys do too.
Now, of course, how do you tailor the different conditioning programs, such as a difference between a front rower and the back line?
To be honest, that's it's quite an interesting question. I work a lot with the scrum coach or our set piece coach on programming for front rowers because he sort of helps me understand. I've never been in a scrum in my life, so he helps me understand the kind of demands on the body in a scrum, especially for the front rowers. And I kind of work with him to try and replicate that, or from at least a loading perspective and understanding sort of what muscles have to be engaged and that kind of thing. Probably get them to do a bit more neck work than the rest of the guys. Like everyone does neck work, but front rowers probably more than anyone.
Yeah.
And then sort of our backs will do a bit more jumping and stuff. Like the locks and loosies get a lot of jumping just from line out lifting. So that they'll do 50 jumps a week just from training in the game. But our backs, we try to get a bit more plyometric work in the gym to work on their sort of explosive speed and that kind of thing.
Now, how do you approach the mental side and the nutrition side of strength and conditioning? Because at the moment, really, this season, you have to worry about tough days after a loss. The team's been going really well.
Yeah, I think the boys are pretty good with the drinking and stuff. Like, I think after after that Shield win, I was quite surprised. Like I thought they were going to do what Southland did and drink for 3 days, but they kind of said, let's have fun tonight. But what's even better than drinking for 3 days after winning it is defending it, keeping it for summer, and then you can do what you want in the off season. So that was pretty grown up from them, I thought. A few of the coaching staff were a bit more keen to rip in. In terms of actual nutrition, we've got a couple of nutritionists who are really good, so I don't really have to do much in that space. I kind of just keep an eye on players' body weight and stuff, and if red flags come up, like if someone's losing too much weight or gaining too much weight, I'll just talk to the nutritionists. They'll try and catch up with those players and just sort of make a plan around their week and how to remedy that, I guess.
How did you get into strength and conditioning, Ben, as a career?
Well, I studied sport and exercise, or PE, basically. Did that for a few years, and then I was doing my masters and was kind of just a little bit bored of the bookwork and research side of things. So I reached out to the Highlanders actually and asked if they had any work experience roles available. Just they didn't pay me or anything, but they got back to me and said, yeah, we'd be keen to have someone come. And I basically just filled bottles and mixed Powerade and laid out cones and stuff. But it was pretty cool. Like it was a good sort of entry into the industry, I guess. And those, even though I was doing those kind of boring jobs, like the S&Cs at the Highlanders were really good to me and sort of always answered my questions and sat down with me and mentored me essentially. And I learned a lot from them. And then eventually a role actually came up at Otago, which was the academy S&C role. And they suggested that I should go for that and helped me with my interview and stuff. And I got that job, and that's kind of how I ended up here.
How different is what you've seen of strength and conditioning at Super Rugby compared to what you do at the NPC level?
It's probably not too different from what I've seen, because I guess the only super program I've been part of was the Highlanders one, and that's kind of a big part of what I've modelled my program on. So, and also the guy who was running our NPC S&C program last year, he was also one of the Highlanders S&C coaches. So I guess I haven't seen too many other styles or roles. It's probably, I guess, just the physicality of the game on the higher level means that the demands are probably even greater, but it's naturally the training over there in the super level is probably going to emulate that anyway naturally. So there's probably not too much I'd do differently.
How do you manage the conditioning needs of players, particularly those that have played club rugby, and then and also the other players that are Super Rugby, and they all come into the NPC squad? Does that make it a bit more of a challenge when you've got players that have been playing sort of amateur club rugby and professional rugby coming into this one team?
Yeah, it does. Basically, what my job involves for the first half of the year before NPC starts is I look after our club players who are going to be in the NPC squad. So I'm spending 6 months trying to make sure that they are ready to train and play with those super guys coming from the Highlanders and from the other super teams. So that probably is a step up for them. But in our program during that club season, we give if we don't think they're doing enough at club training, which they're probably not. From what I've seen at club training, it's nowhere near the level conditioning wise as what our NPC trainings are like. So yeah, we throw in extra running blocks and that kind of thing to make sure those guys are at that level. But most of them are pretty good. Like they're pretty driven to work hard in the gym and on the field to get to that level. So it's not too hard, really. They do it themselves.
Doing some research on you this afternoon. I believe you have a background with the army. Is that correct?
Yeah, sort of. It was short lived. I went into the reserves, the territorials for a brief time. Did a 7 week basic training in Waiouru, which was a pretty interesting experience. And then I was kind of doing the occasional training in Dunedin for a while, but it got a bit too much with study and I got the job at Otago, and that was kind of the end of that.
How is the team looking ahead to the semi final this weekend against Bay of Plenty? Are there any players that are on the injury list that might be on the mend?
I think the team's looking good. We've kind of just approached it like just another week, really, because obviously what we've been doing has been working. So we didn't really change too much. We didn't talk too much about the fact that it was a semi final. Just kind of previewed Bay of Plenty like we would any other team, and trained like we would any other week, I guess. In terms of injuries, Josh Tamu did a little knee injury last week. He was running today, though. He's not going to play tomorrow, but he did some running at captain's run today, so he hopefully could be available for the final if we were to make it. Other than him, I think it is our same team from the quarter.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about you because, you come from a rugby background back up here in Wellington. Where did your junior rugby begin for you, Ben?
I played at West Roosters, actually, 2005, I guess, when I started. Played for them until I went to St. Pat's, I guess. They didn't have much of a senior club, so I didn't really see much hope of playing for them afterwards. But yeah, that's where I played my juniors, the Roosters.
And of course, you mentioned St. Pat's Town. How was your time there?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's a good school. I'm still pretty close with most of my mates from those days. We still look back on the St. Pat's days pretty fondly. Still follow the first 15 and whatnot, McKevity team and stuff. So yeah, pretty. It was good. We had a good time.
I believe also the final year you got quite an important leadership role at the school too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Geez, it was a long time ago now, Brad. But yeah, I haven't talked about that in a while. But no, yeah, you're right.
And of course, what are your fondest memories of playing for the first 15 at St. Pat's Town? And how have they influenced what you do with your work today?
Geez, you're getting the tough questions now. My fondest memories. There, I'll never forget the day we beat Scots in the semi-final,
Yeah.
2018. They were quite a star-studded team. Potentially a few boys on scholarship, and no one was really picking us to beat them. And I think my good mate Eamon Kaya scored it on the final whistle to beat them, which was pretty cool. So, and that was at Scots. So that'll always live in my memory. How's it influenced my work today? Jeez, I don't know. I think it's probably helps me in my job that I have played rugby and sort of been around rugby. Like enables me to relate to the players a bit, I guess, and kind of just have an understanding of what they're going through and like what their bodies are going through on a Saturday. It's probably the main thing I'd get out of that.
Now, how have you been impacted by injuries in rugby? And what have been some of those you've had?
I was pretty lucky for most of my time. Like I had the odd little niggle, but nothing particularly serious until I had quite a bad concussion a couple of years ago, which set me out, well, put me out of the game for a while. It still kind of affects me today, to be honest. So I haven't actually played in a couple of years, and I don't think I will play again. But it probably was a somewhat of a blessing in disguise because I don't know if I would have ended up doing strength and conditioning if I had still been
Mm.
playing. I kind of That's part of the reason I reached out to the Highlanders is I wasn't playing anymore and I wanted to be involved in rugby somehow still. And yeah, I just thought, given I had studied sport and exercise, I thought that was a logical sort of path to take. But yeah, I guess it was a sliding doors moment in a way.
Of course, after you finished at town, you went to Dunedin and you played for the mighty Dunedin Sharks. How was your time there? I believe there was quite a few town old boys and stream old boys that played out there at Dunedin.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's probably a big part of why I went to Dunedin. Well, they are the Marist club, so naturally quite a few um, town and stream boys are there. I think my first year, yeah, there was a good group of us town boys. Me, Oscar Schmidt, really, Devon Oliver Bell, Connor Wandon was there too. Xavier English, who he was a year above me at school, but he went down. He was in Wellington his first year out, and then came down to Dunedin. So it was his first year there too. I think Gus Ashton was there at the time. And there, yeah, a few stream boys: Harrison Boyle, Riley Forbes, um, Ollie Wrigley. Yeah, good bunch. And yeah, no, it was a pretty awesome few years down. Oh, I still go to the Sharks all the time. Watch them. Oscar's still playing for the
Yep.
Prems. So I still get amongst the club quite a bit and go there on Saturday nights and whatnot. So yeah, it's a bloody cool place. Good culture, good community.
What was your best season for the Sharks and why?
Um, Gee, tough to pick. We won 3 Colts premierships in a row. Those first 3 years. So hard to pick which one was the best. The first one was cool, I guess, because we were massive underdogs that first year. I think since then we kind of have had a bit of a dynasty and have been expected to win. But the first year we came up against an unbeaten Kaikarai team, who had pumped us in the regular season, and they hadn't lost a game, and we had kind of scraped in to the semi-finals. I think we qualified 3rd or 4th, and came up against Kaik in the under the roof and managed to beat them. So yeah, that was pretty unbelievable.
What's it like playing under the roof and even being there at Forsyth Bar?
It's pretty cool, though. Like the turf is just immaculate. The groundsman Mike does a seriously good job of looking after it. And yeah, some of those club games, like they always have the club finals there, and they absolutely pack it out. So they genuinely get more players than Otago would get for a regular season game at those club final days. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool environment.
Who have been the biggest influences in your rugby career?
Oh, geez, tough question. Probably a few people. My dad, going way back, he was one of my first coaches. He's been a pretty big influence, massive supporter of mine. My my granddads as well. They were massive fans, probably pretty one-eyed and always super positive, and thought I should be making all these teams and whatnot that I probably was nowhere near, which is pretty cool. Since coming down here, a real influential coach for me was a guy Tamua Ioane, who coached the Colts and then the Prems at Dunedin as well. He was such a good coach and like always kind of backed me and helped me work on this sort of stuff I lacked, like skill set and sort of game management and that kind of thing. But yeah, he was always in my corner, which was pretty cool.
In your playing days, Ben, who was the toughest opponent you played against and why?
Oh, that's good. We once played against Shannon Frizzell while he was an All Black.
Oh, wow.
Or he might have been coming back from injury, but we that was 2022, I think. We were I think at half time we were beating Tyree, or we were maybe losing 7-5 or something, and then they brought Shannon Frizzell on and we lost about 36-5.
Yep.
So he was pretty tough. Actually, one of the guys that is coaching at Dunedin at the moment, another Tyree guy, Mitch Scott, I used to mark up against him. He was a seriously good player.
Yeah.
I always found him pretty tough. Yeah, there's a few, but no, yeah, Shannon Frizzell's probably the one that jumps out because he was a prime All Black at the time, which was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, no, definitely it would have been pretty hard to go up against. Is there one game you played where you learnt the most about yourself as a player?
Well, nothing springs to mind. I suppose some of those. Oh, yeah, there've been a few games in Dunedin where it's like -10 degrees and sideways hail. I remember one out at Watson Park, which is Harbour. We lost that game 5-0, and it was just the whole game was just in one corner of the field because the rain was just horizontal. And yeah, that was the most miserable and unenjoyable game I've ever been a part of. And I probably didn't learn much about myself. Just I was trying to avoid getting hypothermia, but yeah, that one always sticks out.
Now, as well as your playing career and also as a strength and conditioning coach, what has been your best moment in rugby?
To be honest, I said after we won the Shield against Canterbury the other day, I said that was the best moment of my life, just about. Probably, yeah, I'd probably stand by that. That probably even tops the premierships we won with the Colts. Just doing it in Christchurch against an unbeaten Canterbury team, coming from I think we were down by 14 at the time. We were getting absolutely pumped in the first half, and it kind of, it just showed us what the group was kind of made of, to be able to mentally come back from that and to sort of stay in that fight and trust each other. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And I suppose it was quite satisfying for me as the conditioning coach that the boys were able to do that with. We had a man in the bin at the end as well, and so the boys showed some serious conditioning to come back and win that. So yeah, that probably is my best moment in rugby.
Who's the hardest working player in the Otago squad?
Oh, good question. There's some pretty hard-working boys. Harry Taylor, one that sticks out. He's probably he'd probably admit he's not the most sort of superhuman, genetically gifted, fast twitch kind of athlete, but he works his ass off. He's the fittest guy in the team. Just gets about his work. There's a guy, Moana Takataka, who is a reserve tight head prop. So he's. I think I have to try and pull him back from gymming. Like I'll see him. We'll gym during the day with the the squad, and then I'll go to Les Mills later, and I'll see him there doing another gym session, and like I have to try and pull him back and say, you need to rest, mate. Like you're lifting too much weights. He's an unbelievably strong fella, but yeah, like he just loves the gym so much.
So you mentioned the Shield's been going around some of the hostels and getting tickets there. Are they hoping that the Forsyth Bar will be pretty full this weekend, including the zoo?
Yeah, I think that's what it's looking like. They've definitely sold more tickets than they have. I think I heard someone say it'll be our best crowd for an Otago game since 2013 or something.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be a new experience for everyone in this group, really, because we tend to have pretty somber crowds at the round robin games, but I suppose it's good reward for how well the boys have been going, that they're going to finally get a bit of a crowd in there.
Who will have to Otago look out for this weekend in the opposition team?
I think we were going to look out for Kurt Eklund, but he just about lost his bloody lower lip.
I know. I saw those.
I think he got 60 stitches in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty grim. So I don't think he's playing. I think a good Wellington man, Naitoa Akoi, he's probably one to watch out for. Nikora Broughton, another Wellington product, Mara St. Pat's. They've got a good lineup, to be honest. I can't really single anyone out, but those two, if Naitoa gets to work at set piece time and the forwards get to work, they'll be pretty hard to stop. So we've just kind of got to beat them up front, I think, is the first thing. Win that breakdown and win the collision.
Ben, it's been fantastic having you on the Huddy Hui tonight, and it's great to see that you're doing well, in particular getting that head of strength and conditioning job with Otago. Hopefully that takes you on to further endeavours, but all the best for the semi-final, and hopefully we can see Otago in the final.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Brad. Cheers for having me on.
Yes, that is Ben Shepherd, our guest tonight on the Huddy Hui. It's always good to get insight. Last Friday, we had Jet Baker, who's the head analysis of the Wellington Lions, telling us what the role is like for an analysis. It's always good insight to see how a strength and conditioning coach operates as well. So, of course, this weekend, we're back up in Napier this weekend. We're bringing you the Napier Boys High School Sevens tournament. The draw has now been confirmed. It kicks off at 10:30 a.m. at Napier Boys, and we've got some big teams playing there as well. Palmerston North, Napier, Hastings, Lindisfarne, even Hamilton Boys High School coming down as well. So that will be a big occasion of Sevens rugby. It's always good to go back to the Hawke's Bay. It looks like it's got to be a sizzling day up there as well. Well, here on Huddy Sports, we like to thank our sponsors who help keep what we do free for all of you to watch. Like Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Lane Limited, Louise Reddy of New Zealand Travel Brokers, Gavin Murphy and the team from Jed Hickton Funeral Directors, and also Nathan Williams and the team from EG Fresh Range Eggs. And if you're willing to help Huddy Sports, looking to help us sponsor, promote your product, head to huddysports.co.nz, email us at huddysportsnz@gmail.com, or message us on our socials, Facebook and Instagram. It's always good to keep what we do free for all of you to watch, and it's been great bringing you the Huddy's Hui's this year. We've probably got about another week or two left. I was thinking we might finish this week, but there's still a bit of stuff to cover, and we'll be back. We'll keep going next week with another Huddy Hui, so keep an eye out for that. But just a reminder, folks, this Saturday, Napier Boys Sevens tournament from Napier Boys kick off at 10:30 a.m. So make sure you tune in for that. So that's been the Huddy Hui for tonight. Many thanks to Ben Shepherd coming on as our guest tonight, and I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.
It's the Huddy Hui. You can find Huddy Sports on Instagram and Facebook. and check out huddysports.co.nz.
Blocked drains, leaky pipes, don't let plumbing problems sideline your day. Call the team, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Mike has been our sponsor since the very beginning, from quick fixes to full renovations. He's got the tools, the team, and the know-how to get the job done right. First time, every time. Local, reliable, and always on time. That's how Mike plays the game. Find Mike Pinfold at Pinfold Plumbing at extra.co.nz 027 430 4351. Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Also Google Mike Pinfold Plumbing and let the pros handle the flow.
Hi, Gavin Murphy here
And Cassie Murphy.
from G and Higton Funeral Directors.
Don't leave it up to someone else to tell your story. Do it now when you can enjoy being part of the conversation.
With a prepaid funeral, you can have music, readings and venue all chosen by you.
For your free funeral planning pack with everything you need to get started, go to our website at gnhigton.co.nz/pre-planning.
The Huddy Hui, Huddy Sports captivating sports show. The Huddy Hui covers Wellington Club Rugby as well as other sporting topics of debate. Tune in on YouTube during the rugby playing months as host Brad Hudson interviews rugby players and other sporting personalities across the Wellington region and the rest of New Zealand. Catch the Huddy Hui streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever good yarns are heard. The Huddy Hui live on Huddy Sports. Here at Huddy Sports, we love a good game plan. And when it comes to travel, our go-to is Louise Reddy from New Zealand Travel Brokers. Whether it's a sports tour, a family break, or that bucket list trip, she'll get you there stress-free with all the best deals around. She's local, she's experienced, and she backs the game like we do, and she's a great supporter of Huddy Sports. Look up Louise Reddy at louisereddy.nztravelbrokers.co.nz or email louise@louise.reddy@newzealandtravelbrokers.co.nz. Travel smart and travel like a pro. As here on Huddy Sports, we're always wanting to keep our content free on YouTube. So the idea of sponsors, we can promote you on live stream, our social media pages and our website. It's good to support the local community and helps keep Huddy Sport free for all to watch. So if you're interested to helping Huddy Sports, go to huddysports.co.nz or to our email address, huddysportsnz@gmail.com. Ciao for now.